I really do believe that us as personal trainers have been let down by the industry, incredibly failed by the industry. We would all agree that your clients come to you expecting you to know everything they should be eating. Would everyone agree that when a client signs up with you, they expect you to know what they need to eat in order to get into shape? What's the problem there? Think about it. Like, when have you ever actually received any of that education to be able to deliver that service to your clients? Think back to when you first qualified as a personal trainer. How much nutritional education did they actually give you? I remember when I qualified as a PT back in 2012, and I did my exam, and I remember I came to the nutritional aspect of the exam. I remember I had a question, which was, how many portions of fruit and vegetables do the government recommend that we eat every single day? I looked at it and went, this genuinely can't be a question. Like, it can't be serious. And what made it worse was that it was a multiple choice question. And I remember sitting there thinking, like, is this genuinely the level of nutritional education that I need to serve my clients? Is this it? Because I thought that when I qualified as a coach, I was supposed to be set up to be able to deliver results to my clients. Everyone agree on that one? That I believe that I was supposed to be given the tools, the knowledge, and the resources to be able to deliver results. And specifically, if we look at us as coaches, what are the majority of the results that people come to us for? Realistically, if the majority of it is fat loss, what is the number one thing? The number one thing that actually drives results from a fat loss point of view? It's not their training, it's nutrition. So when I think about it, I go, the people who qualified me, the people who gave me this certification, they were supposed to set me up to be able to deliver results. They knew that the majority of people that I'm going to be working with are going to come to me for fat loss or to enhance their body composition. And they also know that the thing that's actually going to drive that result is going to be nutrition. So why was I not given the education to be able to do that? Anyone else feel a similar sort of way? Anyone else had that sort of experience? And I'm standing there, I've got a client coming to me asking me all of these questions that I don't know the answer to. And I'm like, I feel like an absolute fraud. Like, I used to feel like an absolute fraud. And I think the thing I want to kind of pass on to all of you, which is what I've got on my slides, is that nutrition itself is the most conflicting and confusing subject within the whole of the fitness industry. Would everyone agree that when it comes to nutrition, that it is so confusing? Because you have people down one end of the spectrum who effectively say that life's problems are solved by a calorie deficit, and the only thing you have to do is just give your client a calorie deficit and a protein goal, and that's the level of nutritional coaching you need to do. But then you have other people down the other end of the spectrum who say that, well, if your client looks at a carb, they're going to die. And it's so confusing and it's so conflicting. And as a coach, when you are getting asked all of these questions, where can you actually go to get this information? It's the internet, it's social media, and even that in itself is so confusing. So if you are on this session here and you have tried to level up your nutrition game before, if you do experience an element of self-doubt, an element of imposter syndrome, an element of worry and fear specifically around nutrition, you kind of tiptoe around it and you feel that it's the one thing you don't fully feel confident and certain in, and you feel that you don't have the same level of confidence and certainty in your nutritional coaching that you do with training, I understand. And if you've ever felt confused or worried about delivering nutritional coaching, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because nutrition is incredibly confusing. It's incredibly conflicting. And the only thing you really need is the right guide, the right person to actually cut through the noise and say, right, black and white, this is what is right. This is what is correct. And that's what I'm going to serve for you today. Serve us for you today. So if I can deliver on that promise and really finally kind of cut through the noise and give you the real answers to what is actually scientifically backed and what you can use with your clients to deliver exceptional nutritional results, but more importantly, reinstill that confidence and certainty that you can deliver a high quality result, would that be a successful use of your time? If you do feel an element of imposter syndrome, self-doubt, I know for myself, I constantly, especially in my early days, I constantly used to say the same to myself, which is, I feel like a fraud. waiting to be found out. I always kind of felt that like I was constantly looking over my shoulder because, I would have clients who would come in. I'd kind of promise them the world and I'd be like, hey, if you follow everything that I tell you to do, you can get this result. But in the back of my mind, I was almost kind of like, it's actually 50-50 whether you're going to get the result. If you do feel like that, don't worry, I'm here to help you. But more importantly, if I kind of look at the end of today, I'm going to provide you with the tools and resources and the knowledge specifically to get you to a place where you can guarantee a result that your clients can't get from anyone else. And if you are experiencing this almost kind of like this sensation of clients coming in, clients dropping off, clients coming in, clients dropping off, then again, everything I'm going to teach you today will really help, and it'll ensure that you'll be able to deliver an amazing result, but more importantly, off the back of that, build a long-term sustainable business that allows you to really kind of feel fulfilled and like you'll be able to make progress. So this session is really for two types of coaches. First of all, it's for coach number one. You don't feel confident in nutrition at all. You're always doubting yourself nutritionally. You're forever looking over your shoulder, worrying about clients potentially dropping off, clients who aren't quite making progress, and they've been with you for a while. They're paying you their good, hard-earned money, and the results that they're getting aren't really anything to kind of shout about. And you find that off the back of that, because you don't have that certainty, that confidence, and you don't deliver results that you're fully proud of, you feel that you probably don't put yourself out there enough to go and grow your business because this imposter syndrome is holding you back. If you feel like that, don't worry, you're in the right place. And today's really going to help you. But then this presentation is also for coach number two. You may kind of feel that actually, do you know what? Nutritionally, I'm all right. Like I know the basics, like, in terms of the results that I deliver, they're pretty good. But I don't want to just deliver good results. I want to take my results to the next level. I want to be known as that coach who delivers. I want to be known in my area. I want to be known online as the person who delivers results that no one else can. I want to be known as the guy or the girl who people go to and go, you go to him, you are getting that result. That's who I want to be. If you want to step into the shoes of the next level version of yourself, becoming a coach unlike anyone else who delivers unmatched results, again, all of the teachings that I'm going to share with you today will allow you to do that. And specifically, this presentation will deliver on two core promises. Well, actually, no, three core promises. First of all, if you have any clients, if any of you have a client who has been stuck in a weight loss plateau for some weeks, whether it's been weeks or months, their results have been really slow. You have no idea why they're not making progress. And you're starting to worry that any moment they're going to hit you with that message, which says, I really appreciate everything you've done, but I think I'm going to kind of go it alone and see how I go. If you're worried about that, the strategy that I'm going to share with you today will help you get any stuck client, any client who's been stuck for a while. It will allow them to get to lose 2 to 4 pounds in the next 7 days without lowering their calories any further, without upping their activity any further, or needing MyFitnessPal at all. So you will have that promise, first of all. Secondly, after that client breaks through the plateau, you will also learn how you can guarantee any client that comes into your program will lose between 10 and 14 pounds of body fat sustainably every 28 days while building muscle at the same time. And they'll be able to do that without needing to count calories, without needing to track macros, or using MyFitnessPal at all. And finally, I'm going to share one core, very, very powerful strategy, which is a 3-step strategy that will guarantee that your clients will actually adhere to the plan. So if you feel any frustration that your clients don't follow your plan, if you feel more like a babysitter than a coach, again, the strategy I'm going to share with you today will allow you to do that. Fundamentally, you'll be able to get to a place where you know that 100% when someone comes into your world, you'll be able to deliver that result, and you'll be able to guarantee a result that they can't get from anyone else. Why trust me? Okay, why am I the person who you're going to listen to? Why am I the person to teach you? I originally qualified as a personal trainer back in 2012, but I also qualified as a nutritionist in 2015. I got a scholarship to become a nutritionist and do a master's degree in performance nutrition. If anyone's ever heard of creatine or beta-alanine before, I was very fortunate to learn under a guy called Professor Craig Sale, who effectively invented the stuff and did all of the early research on those supplements. And then I later was a a few years back, I was accepted to do a PhD looking at optimal nutritional strategies to build muscle and drop body fat at the same time. And those teachings that I've learned from my academic career, I'm going to share with you today. But then also within the nutrition industry, like I mentioned, I've been the nutritionist for two elite sports clubs over the past 10 years. I've had the fortune of working with some of the world's best athletes, being personal coach to Premier League footballers, international cricketers, professional golfers, and also running a coaching business, helping elite athletes level up their own performance. But then I also ran my own coaching business, helping members of the Gen Pop lose weight in a long-term sustainable manner. I've been very fortunate to work with some of the titans of the industry. So my really good friend, Dr. Sally Bell, she's one of the top UK doctors, where we actually used to work together helping menopausal women, people with type 2 diabetes, completely reverse their type 2 diabetes. My good friend, Tim Exeter, he's one of the highest, the top performance coaches in the world. He's trained people like Carlos Takam to fight Anthony Joshua. He's been head of performance at 6 Premier League football clubs, trained Ryder Cup golfers, Formula One drivers. We worked together where he did the training and I did the nutritional coaching for some of the world's top people. And this is Ollie Ollerton, who, if any of you have watched SAS Who Dares Wins, was one of the DSs on that program. Ollie runs a mentorship, helping people become the best version of themselves. And I'm very fortunate to deliver the nutritional coaching on that mentorship as well. So, I've been very fortunate to work with some of the titans of the industry. But in terms of my own businesses, I've been able to actually translate the ability to deliver a result and a service my clients can't get from anyone else into financial success. And again, off the back of today, I only want you to to believe one thing. My whole teaching today is to get you to the place where you believe that I need to get to the place where I can deliver a result and a service my client can't get from anyone else. Because if you can get to that place, I promise you, pretty much the majority of your problems of business are completely solved. And I know that because that's what's happened within my own business. I've been able to take a few of my businesses past 6 figures. But fundamentally, if I kind of look at my coaching businesses, whether it's been training personal trainers, whether it's been training the Gen Pop, I've been able to actually kind of live a life of freedom where I can travel where I want, when I want, with who I want. And the business works off the back of that. So this isn't just going to be a training just about here's some nutrition facts. I'm actually going to make sure that you can get to a place you can deliver high quality results, but also translate that into success so you can finally build a business of substance, but more importantly, a business of freedom, which is what you signed up for in the first place. And really, when I kind of look at it from a business point of view, I've been very fortunate to actually learn from the best in the business. So again, a few years back, I went into a business mastermind with Russell Brunson, who actually taught Alex Hormozi. So for any of you guys who know Alex Hormozi, I'm sure that you've probably seen a lot of the marketing stuff recently around what he's just done. He just made $100 million in a day, which is absolutely ridiculous. I've been very fortunate to be in the same room of where Alex Hormozi has actually been taught. So again, I was in a mastermind with Russell Brunson, learning exactly how I can translate all of these results into financial success. I think one thing that I find really quite sad in the business world right now, especially from a fitness perspective, is that the only things that we are told is to grow our business. You just need to just keep posting content where you're effectively spending half an hour trying to put together a 30-second video for it to get 2 likes. And then you're relentlessly DMing and messaging as many people as possible. I've never understood that concept of why the business mentors are effectively just telling all of you guys in the fitness space, like, this is what you need to do to grow your business. Because I've never had to do that with my own business. So again, this is going to be a completely different way of thinking. And fundamentally, if I kind of look at, the things that I've been very fortunate to achieve, I was able to achieve these only because of 2 reasons. Number 1, results, and number 2, reputation. That I found that within my own businesses, I've always been able to focus fully in on how can I deliver a result and a service my client can't get from anyone else. I look at the nutritional courses that I deliver for personal trainers now, and my sole focus is being, I am making sure that this is the best course that is out there. And off the back of that, my reputation in the fitness space has grown, and more people have just effortlessly kind of come to me. And I promise you, you can achieve the same results if you just go all in on delivering an amazing result for your clients and and being known for that, people will flood towards you. And I'm very fortunate that now I teach all of you guys how to do all of this. I've been running my own coaching business when it comes to training personal trainers for quite some time now, and I've trained thousands of personal trainers to deliver really receive the nutritional education that you should have got from the start. And I really kind of set all of these guys up, and they are able to deliver a result and a service that their clients can't get from anyone else. Imposter syndrome, self-doubt, all gone. Clients dropping off, all gone. Sustainable businesses built, and they're all part of my next level and my elite coach programs. This is my amazing client Samantha. Samantha came to me about 4 years ago. She her business was at a place where she was gonna quit. Half of the clients who were doing okay, half of them, she gave them a calorie goal, she gave them a protein target, and they were getting results. But the problem was that the other 50%, for some reason, they were in a calorie deficit. They were doing all the training. They were counting their macros, but they just weren't making progress. And she was on this never-ending cycle of clients dropping off, and she was constantly having to fill the whole of her business with new clients, and she never felt like she was making progress to the point she was ready to quit. And Samantha now, she actually got her business to a place where she was fully booked. But more importantly, she's now opened up her own facility, and she's earning a pretty good amount of money. But more importantly, she finally has that certainty and confidence that she can deliver a result no one else can. Again, this is my client Dylan. He had a client who, he had multiple clients who just kept hitting these plateaus, and he had no idea why. And using the strategies I'm going to share with you guys today, whenever he had a client hit a plateau, he didn't panic anymore. So that kind of that feeling when you've got that client, when it comes to their check-ins, they haven't lost weight for a few weeks, and you're kind of out of options. You can't tell them to train more. You can't tell them to eat less. And you don't really know what to do, and you're kind of worrying that they're going to leave you, and eventually they do. Well, Dylan was in the exact same spot. And what happened was that by mastering the strategies I share with you guys today, he was actually able to get to a place that if a client ever hit a plateau, he knew exactly what to do to break through. But more importantly, off the back of that, he was then able to set his clients up from the start so they never actually hit a plateau again. And again, like I mentioned, you're going to learn this today. And this is all kind of translated into financial success for all of my other clients and coaches who are on my program. But more importantly, I think it's the confidence side of things. All of these guys now who work with me finally have the certainty, the confidence and conviction to go and actually deliver nutritional coaching for their clients. And again, like I mentioned, this is translated into financial success, but more importantly, emotional success and confidence. So like I mentioned, I just need you to make 2 core commitments. The first one is commitment number 1 for this session. I will commit to actively listen, learn, and apply everything that I do in this session. So please, no distractions, okay? No distractions, nothing. Completely immerse yourself. I don't know why it says the next 2 days. It should say the next 2 hours. Put 90 minutes. But you're not here for 2 days. Promise you. I mean, I can talk for 2 days if you want me to. But it's gonna be 90 minutes. Sorry about that one. But I just need you to commit to just no distractions. Please, please, please take advantage of the principle of concentrated effort and constantly ask yourself that question. Like I said from the start, how does this apply to me, my clients, and my business? And throughout this whole session, see in your mind yourself doing and delivering everything that I teach you. The next 2 hours, the next 90 minutes of this session will not turn you into a nutritional master. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. You will not have every single tool that you ever need to deliver insane results for your clients just off the end of completing this workshop. Okay, you will learn more than you ever have done. I promise you that, and this will set you up for success. And you're going to learn so much in this session. And I'm going to reveal to you techniques, knowledge, tools, and frameworks that will literally transform you as a coach. Your confidence will go to a whole new level. Your business will go to a whole new level. But this is only the beginning. Okay, and specifically over these next 60 to 90 minutes, I need you to make a commitment that by the end of this, you will go on a never-ending journey of leveling yourself up. Okay, because fundamentally, the only thing I need you to do is just commit to long-term mastery. Hopefully you'll commit to continuing this with myself moving forward. But more importantly, even if even if that isn't something that you want to do moving forward, I just want you to commit to going like, right, I'm going to go on a never-ending journey to level myself up. So yeah, so just pop in. Every day is a school day. I love that. Amy, I'm committed as fuck. Let's go. John's committed. Anita's committed, and Anita's gonna live and breathe this. I absolutely love it. So we just need to live and breathe this energy. And I promise you, this will take you to a level that you didn't believe was possible. Now, here's the thing I want to kind of stress. I'm kind of standing up here, all good and well, going like, yeah, I know everything nutritionally and life's amazing and it's fantastic and I've got no problems. Okay. It wasn't always like this. It definitely wasn't. I was in a place where that self-doubt, that imposter syndrome that I kind of spoke about, fuck me, was I drowning in it. I genuinely got to a place where I was actually ready to quit my fitness business, all because of results, and it's why I do what I do. Now, here's the thing: I did promise my beautiful mother. Now, how amazing is she? Look at her. Like, how happy does she look? Like, she has been the absolute guide throughout my whole process. I owe so many of my successes to my mum, but I did promise my mum that I wouldn't say any naughty words while I was delivering a session. Now, here's the thing. Considering I'm talking to a group of fitness coaches, there is no way I couldn't fire out the C bomb. Okay. There's no way I couldn't fire out the C bomb. Does anyone remember in the fitness space something called COVID? Anyone remember that one? I bet you all thought I was going to say something a bit different, didn't you? I bet you thought I was going to say a different C bomb. Calories? No, it wasn't that one. Yeah, COVID. Like COVID absolutely decimated my fitness business. And I kind of think back to COVID. This is where I actually got close to completely finishing off my business. Because I look at it from a business point of view, I was earning between 2 and 4 grand a month. So again, you kind of look at that and you're like, well, that's pretty successful. Like two to 4 grand a month. Like, yeah, that's pretty good. But I don't know what it was, but for me, I just had this dream. Like I had this dream internally of hitting 100 grand. I saw all these people kind of like hitting 6 figures in their business, all these coaches hitting, 8 grand a month, 10 grand a month, 15, 20 grand a month. I saw what was possible. And for myself, I've always wanted to be a high achiever. I've never, ever wanted to be mediocre. The minute that I felt like I was mediocre, I was just like, I feel sick. Like I feel sick about mediocrity. I want to make sure that I leave nothing in the tank. And I just felt like I was mediocre. Like I had this dream of hitting £100,000. And I don't know what it was, but I just kind of felt, and again, it was a toxic mindset at the time, which was that I'll be successful when I've hit 100 grand. And I think the problem was that like, no matter what I was doing, I was absolutely nowhere near it. Nowhere near 100 grand. No matter what I did, I couldn't break through that £4,000 mark. And to be honest, I was just exhausted. I was getting nowhere. I was following what all of these mentors were telling me. I was posting content. I'd spend like half an hour putting together this reel for Instagram, only for it to be a 30-second reel and get 2 likes, one being my nan and the other being my own personal account. And then I'm getting no bites and putting all of this energy and effort into putting myself out there. And then I've got these mentors basically saying, like, just message as many people as you possibly can, do the work, have the conversations. And I was doing it. I was effectively begging people to work with me, relentlessly posting content and just getting nowhere near it. And it got to the place where I was like, I'm not sure whether I can do this anymore. Like, I'm really not sure whether I can do this anymore. But what was interested, I found out what the problem was. At the time, the only thing that I had going through my mind in terms of my strategy, it was just get more clients in, more clients in, more clients in, more clients in. And I thought that the solution to my problem was just getting more clients. But I realized what the core issue actually was with my business. So I'm just going to get my whiteboard up here. So can everyone just let me know? Can you all see my whiteboard? Yeah, everyone see my whiteboard? Awesome. Okay. Thank you very much, John. So I realized what my issue was. And the challenge was when I looked at my clients, I kind of had clients in 2 core camps. So if I kind of put it on like a structure here, I had 50% of my clients in this situation. Now, here's the interesting thing. When I first qualified as a coach, nutritionally, the only thing I was really taught that when it came to fat loss was that the only thing we need to do is get our clients in a calorie deficit. So everyone else agreed that as long as my clients in a calorie deficit and they're hitting their protein goal, they'll lose weight. Yeah. And if they're not losing weight, then they're obviously not in a calorie deficit. Everyone heard that one. Everyone followed that school of thought. And that was mine. And if I look at the extent of my nutritional coaching, the extent of my nutritional coaching was what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick my clients on MyFitnessPal. I'm going to give them a protein goal. I'm going to give them a calorie target. And I say, hey, here you go. And do you know what happened? 50% of my clients, they got results. It worked. They got results and they were happy. But these guys weren't the guys who were causing me an issue. Because in the other 50%, okay, I had these guys who were getting results, but the other 50% of my clients weren't. Now, here's the interesting thing about the 50% here. I had 10% of these guys, okay, who were just a waste of space. Okay. These are the clients who, I'm telling them what to do and they just weren't following it. Whatever I asked them to do, they would find every and any excuse to avoid doing it. Anyone got then any of those clients who were just, in all honesty, sorry, mum, a fucking nightmare. Like, fucking nightmare. Waste of space. And in all honesty, I feel like I'm more of a babysitter than a coach to these people. These are the people who almost kind of turn up and think because they've paid you that you're going to wave this magic wand and go, ooh, ah, you've lost 5 stone, hooray. Those people waste of space. Okay, energy vampires, get them out of your life, not worth it. But these guys weren't the problem when it came to my business. Because I have 40% of my clients, another 40% who I stuck them on MyFitnessPal, gave them a protein goal, gave them a calorie target, and at the start, they lost some weight. But what would happen would be we'd get 3, maybe 4 weeks down the line, and I'd do my weekly check-in with them, and nothing. I'm like, oh, how you getting on? And they're like, I haven't lost any weight this week. I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. Like, not a problem. Like, really not an issue. Don't worry about it. Not an issue whatsoever. Just trust the process. Keep going. Don't worry about the scales. They're going to fluctuate. They're going to go up and down, so don't stress. Okay. But then a week later, still no weight loss. So I'm starting to kind of get a little bit confused because these people weren't in the 10%. These people were people that I genuinely believed were actually following the plan. And on paper, they were in a deficit. On paper, they were in a calorie deficit. I looked at their MyFitnessPal and I looked through their food diary and I'm like, you should be losing weight here. And I have absolutely no idea why, and I don't get it. So anyway, I'd say, look, don't worry about it. Just keep going. We'll crack on. Then it came to week 3. Now the problem was, I was taught when it came to nutrition, specifically from a fat loss point of view, the only thing I had to do was get my clients in a calorie deficit. So let's say that my client was burning 2,000 calories a day and they were eating 1,500 calories a day. They're in a deficit of 500 calories. Now, what I was taught originally from a nutritional point of view when it came to fat loss was my sole goal is to make this number as big as possible without killing my client. Anyone else got that same school of thought? Make this number as big as possible without them wanting to eat me, without them wanting to completely run out of energy whatsoever. Okay? That was my goal. And I could do that one of 2 ways. By upping their activity or lowering their calories. Really simple. Everyone else agree with that. Here's the problem. My client has been in a deficit for 3 weeks. They haven't lost weight. There's only so many times I can tell Jane and Jim, don't worry about the scales. They're going to fluctuate. have you eaten a bigger meal this week? Maybe you've had a bigger meal and, the weight's going to be a bit inconsistent. Have you been to the toilet a bit more? I'm really kind of scraping the barrel. Like, do you have a bigger poo this week? Like, what's going on there? Like, I'm really kind of scraping the barrel. And there's only so many times you can say, just trust the process, be consistent, keep going. It's a long-term game. Anyone experience this same phenomenon? And the problem I had was that I only had two options when it came to a client hitting a plateau. My goal when it came to a client losing weight and making progress was to make this number as big as possible. But on paper, they were already in a deficit. And I can only use two things. Number one, increase their activity. Now, the challenge is that when Jane actually came on board with me, I told her that you're working with me to ensure that we can build a long-term sustainable plan. This is going to be sustainable for you, something you can stick to, something that can fit into your life. Now, Jane's already training 4 times a day and she's already doing her steps every single day. She's doing 10,000 steps. I can't say to her, what I need you to do is actually up it to 15,000 steps and you need to train 7 times a week. That's not sustainable. And she's already moaning that her knee's killing her. So for me to go back to her and say, just got to move more, Jane, she's going to go, am I actually paying you £200 a month for you to tell me to move more to lose weight? Is that your magical solution? Anyone experience that? So I can't tell her to exercise more. So if I can't up their activity, I've only got one other way in which I can increase their deficit, which is to drop their calories. And here's the thing, I kind of lied to you when I said they were on 1,500 calories, because I'd actually dropped their calories to a level I hope nobody found out about. And I didn't want to be known as that 1,200 calorie coach. And Jim's already moaning that he's so hungry, if I tell him to eat less, he's going to eat me. And I'm like, right, okay, my business isn't going to work that way. So when it came to the options of me getting this client through a plateau, sorry, mum, I'm fucked. Anyone been in that same situation? Now, when that client isn't making progress, it's not just about them not making progress. Where does your mind go to? Well, this person is paying me their hard-earned cash for a result they're not getting. I have no idea why they're not getting that result. Why would you continue paying for something that you're not getting? They're going to leave me. And they didn't specifically say, I haven't got any results, I'm going to leave you. It was always in the form of a text message. Really appreciate everything that you've done for me. I'm just going to see how I'm going to go for the next few weeks. On my own. I'll see how I go on my own for a bit. And then I'll definitely come back to you. They never come back. And that does two things. One, clients dropped off. Yeah. Now, I've got to get back on the content treadmill. The hardest thing to do in business is to get a new client. Would we all agree? The hardest thing to do is to get a new client. I've now got to get back on the content treadmill, camp back in those strangers' DMs, effectively begging people to work with me just to fill the hole of the client that's just left me. No wonder I felt like I was never making progress, because my business never was making progress. It was like a bath. I had water coming into the bath, but the problem was I didn't have the plug-in. It'd come in and it'd come out. No wonder I was just stuck between that 2 and 4 grand mark. The water was never rising. Someone would come in, someone would come out. Anyone been in this similar sort of situation? And the challenge then, it wasn't just the fact that from a business point of view, I felt like a failure. My business was never progressing. I could never make plans with my partner. She'd be there going, let's go on holiday here, let's go on holiday there, let's do this and this, let's move house, let's go do that. I couldn't commit to anything because I didn't know how much I was going to be earning. And I've just had 3 clients leave me and I'm like, fucking, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay the rent this month. I'm then seeing all of these coaches making 5 grand a month, 10 grand a month, 20 grand a month, having an amazing time in the beach. And I couldn't help but feel like an absolute failure. But I think more importantly, it was more, these people have paid me for a result. And even before they left me, I could see that they were beginning to question whether this person is actually as good as I originally thought they was when I signed up. Anyone had that similar thought of like, my clients aren't happy with my service? It's almost kind of this nagging feeling in the back of your mind. It's this nagging feeling that just gnaws about it. And exactly what John just said there. They then tell their friends that this person isn't actually as good. That then puts people off from jumping onto your service. How does that make you feel? Like an absolute failure. An absolute failure. I kind of use this word imposter syndrome. I always was saying to my mum, I feel like a fraud consistently just waiting to be found out. I wouldn't put myself out there on social media because I was petrified of being called out. I was petrified of my ex-clients going like, okay, you're saying you're amazing, but I didn't get a result. This person's personalized service was some macros that didn't work and stuck me on a treadmill. I was like, no, I tried. So this imposter syndrome, this doubt, I'd then have to go and sign someone up. I'd be having a conversation with them, one to one, promising them the world. But in the back of the mind, I'm like, the main reason we're on this call is because I've just lost a client. And I'm saying that I can get you a result, but in truth, I'm not actually sure if I can. Anyone ever felt dirty on a sales call before? Anyone ever felt a little bit dirty, almost kind of signing someone up? How messed up is that? And I realized how this was impacting my business. And I realized what the problem was. And if you're finding yourself in this similar situation, today is the antidote. And I'm going to tell you exactly how you can overcome that. Would anyone like to know how you can get out of this situation? Yeah? Awesome. So, I realized what my main problem was in terms of my business. So, from a financial perspective, like I kind of mentioned, I was earning between 2 and 4 grand a month. And I had this dream of hitting £100,000. And like I mentioned, I felt like I was running in quicksand. I almost kind of felt like a Formula One car that was on full throttle, but the brakes were on. I was putting all this energy and effort in and getting nowhere. And I couldn't help but feel like eventually, I'm not sure how much longer I can continue with this. But I realized what my issue was. And specifically, if you're in the same situation, today is going to reveal to you what your issue is. So what was happening was that at the time I was charging £150 a month, and I heard all of these people saying, you've got to charge more. The more they pay, the more attention they pay. Increase your prices. Work with less people for more money. Anyone heard that sort of stuff? And in the back of my mind, I knew I needed to up my prices. But if I was honest with myself, I looked at the quality of result and the quality of service that I was delivering. I definitely could not warrant more than 150 quid. Like, first of all, I was already having my clients leave, and effectively every time they left, they were saying that £150 is not worthy of the service that I'm paying for every month. But then secondly, I'd be on sales calls with people and people would be like, yeah, I'm not sure I can probably afford it. So to then go and up my prices is suicide. It's literally just asking to be punched in the face with rejection even more. I couldn't go and ask my existing clients who haven't got results in weeks and say, hey, do you want to pay me an extra 100 quid? So I couldn't up my prices. But here was the bigger issue. These clients would only stick around for about 90 days, typically 12 weeks. And here's what I found out why my business was never making progress. Because on average, I was charged £150 a month. Clients sticking around with me for 90 days. Do you know how much each client is actually worth to me? £450. Do you know how many people I have to sign up in a whole year to make £100,000? 227. Who here thinks they could sign up 227 people in the next year? Who would want to deal with 227 people in the next year? No wonder I wasn't making progress. I realized what the issue was. To make 50 grand a year, I needed 113.5 in the small one. And you're starting to realize what the problem is here. But at the time, it was interesting. I was in a place where I was just like, I can never make this thing a success. I was burnt out. I was exhausting. I was constantly letting my partner down, constantly letting my friends down, and questioning whether I really actually could continue doing this business anymore. And I heard a guy called Tony Robbins. If anyone's ever heard of Tony Robbins before, he said this thing which genuinely has changed my life, and it will change yours today if you fully understand it. He said there are only 3 ways to grow a business, and I want you all to write this down. There are only 3 ways to grow a business. Number 1, get more clients. Okay? I was already doing that. I was posting content. I was camping in strangers' DMs. I was having more conversations. I was already trying that. And that got me to here. But he then said there's two other ways. Get them, your existing clients, to pay you more, or get them to pay you more often. Only three ways. Get more clients, get them to pay you more, or get them to pay you more often. And that's where I realized what the change was. Because I'm a big believer that success is just asking better questions of yourself. That's all it is. Success is just asking better questions of yourself. And the only question I was asking was, how can I get more clients? And that got me here. Burnt out, broken, feeling like a fraud, feeling like a failure, constantly letting everyone in my life down and letting myself down and feeling mediocre. So I decided, well, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you're going to get the same result. Would everyone agree? You do the same thing over and over again, you're going to get the same result. And I was interested in a different result, so I needed to take different action. And that different action needed to come from asking a different question, which was, if the only thing I changed was, instead of how can I get more clients, the only thing I changed was, how could I get my clients to pay me more and pay me more often? What would happen? So if the only thing I did was figure out a way to warrant increasing my prices from $150 a month to $250, increasing it by £100 a week, £100 a month, £25 a week. Okay. And the only other thing I focused on was turning those 90-day clients into 365-day clients. Everything changes. Because now that one client goes from being worth £450 to me to being worth £3,000 to me. Do you know how many people I now need to sign up to make £100,000? Not 227, 34. But actually, if anyone's ever listened to my podcast before, I always sign every episode off. My dad said to me, he said, Cal, never forget, if every one of your clients gave you just one new client, you've doubled your business. So I didn't actually need 34 people, I only needed 17. Who here thinks that they could find 17 overweight, unhappy, financially qualified people in the next 12 months? Yeah? And what's the only thing that you would need to do? Turn them into a 365-day client. What's the only thing stopping you from being able to increase your prices and turning a 90-day client into a 365-day client? Delivering a result and a service your client can't get from anyone else. Everyone see that? Here's a question. If you've got someone who's paying you £250 a month and they've paid you that for the next year, do you think they've probably got a result? Probably. And if they've got a result, do you think, and John pressed on it here by putting it in the chat, they tell their friends? What are they now going to tell their friends? But more importantly, the beauty is that we are in the fitness space. The beauty is that our clients serve as a walking billboard for the result that we deliver. Get your clients to sell your business for you. Ask yourself the question right now, have you got good sales reps? I remember when I figured this out and I went down this path, I went solely in on going, I've got to make sure I deliver insane results. And I then got to a place where, from the strategies I'm about to share with you in a second, I was having clients. I remember I had my client called Ewan. And Ewan, he was type 2 diabetic and he was 166 kilos when we first started with each other. He then lost 6 stone in 6 months and his type 2 diabetes went away. Do you think that you could see the difference in someone who's lost 6 stone in 6 months? What are people then going to ask? Where have you gone? And he goes, I went to Callan. What does that do in terms of referral? Ewan used to bring in at least one new client for me every single every single month. Every month, Ewan brought in a client. And 2 of my clients brought me in a client every month. Every other week, I had a new referral just from 2 of those guys. Business grew. Prices went up. Clients stayed with me longer. Question for you guys. What is the only thing stopping you from being able to do this? Pop in the chat. What is the one thing you need to do? The only thing you need to do to be able to do it. And if you think that this will work for you, put it in the chat. Be like, yes. If you're excited about it, put it in the chat, because now you know the only thing you need to do is go and find 17 people over the next 12 months. Question: are there 17 people in the world who are financially qualified, unhappy, and overweight and want to change? Your sole job is to find those 17 people and then simply deliver a result and a service the client can't get from anyone else. And what is the one thing that stops you from doing that? Nutrition. So once I kind of figured this, like everything changed for me, because I finally felt like I know my answer and I know exactly what I need to do. I need to figure out why these guys are not making progress. I need to sort these 40% out. I need to sort this 40% out who aren't making progress. And then also I can then enhance the quality of result that these guys are getting. If I do that, my clients stay with me. If I do that and my clients stay with me, my business then grows from a place of stability. I can then start to make plans with my partner. I can then start to actually earn a sustainable income. I can finally enjoy this thing that I once didn't enjoy again. And more importantly, I can get to a place where I'm known as the coach who delivers results no one else can. Everyone's seeing this, yeah? Everyone getting this? Anyone excited about this? Awesome. So, what did I learn